out my window, sun shining bright.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Sideliner channel. It's your host, Reese. Wrapping up some more of this NBA playoff recap. Day 4. Got some interesting games. Although every game was won by at least 13 points, they were still good games. Other than the Cavs versus Knicks game, that one was pretty much, it was what it was. But let's get into it, man. Go ahead, drop that subscribe if you're new. If you enjoy the content, drop the like, comment. I want to have discussions with you guys. Like I said, eventually I'm gonna have a podcast. So, if anybody's interested, just let your boy know. The game 1 of the night, Boston Celtics versus the Atlanta Hawks. Like I said, every game was won by at least 13 points. This was that game, 13-point win for the Boston Celtics. To begin the game, the Atlanta Hawks, they were looking very decent, much better than they did in game 1. They started the game off shooting 3 for 4. In game 1, they were 0 for 9 from deep in that first quarter. They hit 5 threes in the first quarter in this game, so a right improvement, but proceeded to miss 18 of the next 22 shots from deep for the rest of the game. Outside of this first quarter, in a little spurt in the third quarter, Atlanta looked pretty terrible throughout this entire game. Lackadaisical defense, just discombobulated all over the court offensively, from throwing passes in the backcourt, passing it out of bounds to ghost players, and simply just giving the ball right to Boston Celtics players. So it's a lot that they need to work on. They had 10 first half turnovers, just like I said, off of so many terrible passes. I don't even know what the total was for the end of the game, but 10 in the first half. We've been seeing that a lot in this playoffs from a lot of teams, but for Atlanta, it really killed them. They had the lead early on in the first quarter and missed 10 straight shots and allowed Boston to not only take the lead, but from there they didn't look back. Icing on the cake, cherry on the top, was Malcolm Brogdon hitting a half-court shot to end the first quarter. That really gave Boston the momentum that they needed to go ahead and take the rest of this game head on. DeAndre Hunter was aggressive and a bright spot for the Atlanta Hawks in that first quarter. Quick 10 points, 4-4 from the field in his first shots, but cooled off for the rest of the game. Just finished the game with 18 points and 12 rebounds, but him cooling off and missing so many shots throughout the course of the game ultimately killed the Atlanta Hawks' chance of winning this game. Like I said, he was really hot for them in that first quarter and then just completely fell off. Thankfully, DeJounte Murray throughout the course of the game, and especially in that third quarter, really picked it up for the Atlanta Hawks to kind of make it a game, but it got blown up once Trae Young got back into the game in that fourth quarter, but we'll get to that in a second. Sadiq Bey in this game, 15 minutes, 1 rebound, 0-4 from the field, not having the impact that you would wish he would have on the game, like he did in that play-in game, dropping over 24, 25 points. Like I said, thankfully for them, DeJounte Murray was key for them. He had 11 in the first half, ended up dropping 13 in the third quarter, and after that third quarter run, that's when the Atlanta Hawks just completely fell apart. Once Trae Young checked back into the game, the offense just became frantic once again like they were in the beginning of the game, just throwing the ball everywhere. Trae Young comes in and immediately takes a 3 off once he's from sitting 6+ minutes on the bench, just chucks a 3. Took 4 of the first 6 shots and just completely ruined the flow of the offense for the Atlanta Hawks. During that stretch in the third quarter, that back half, when Trae Young was on the bench, Atlanta looked much better, much more poised on the court with DeJounte Murray being in control. The offense was getting out and running. On defense, they were stopping the Celtics to an extent. Obviously, they cut the lead down to 9, so they were doing something right. But once Trae Young got back in, the offense just completely fell apart. The defense was lackluster once again, and that ultimately lost them the game. Early on, Robert Williams' energy and effort is what kept the Boston Celtics from falling behind too much. He provided an offensive spark that allowed them to go on a 14-0 run, and he actually began the series going all the way back to the last game, shooting 10 for 10 from the field. The defense on Trae Young was just causing problems, creating turnovers. He was just 2 of 7 in the first quarter, so they were really locking in and clamping down on Trae Young, preventing him from getting it going. He only finished the game with 24 points, but it was not a good shooting night for Trae Young. Tatum was hitting tough buckets all night. In that first half, he came away with 18 points. 14 of his points were scored in the second quarter. Derek White, very instrumental for them in that first half. 12 points, 12 points in the first half scored. Backed it up with another 14 points scored in the fourth quarter. Malcolm Brogdon in that first half was doing it all for them. 7 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Just everybody all around gave great effort for that Boston Celtics. Over half their points in the first half came from points in the paint. 38 of their 61 points were in the paint. Finished the game off with 66 paint points, maybe even more. I lost count after a while. It went up by 20 points in that third quarter. Obviously, it got cut down to 9, but Trae Young gets back in the game, starts doing this, starts doing that. Offense falls apart, and the Boston Celtics balloon their lead back up to 15, 20 points, and finish the game winning by 13. I can't do this hat no more, man. Squeezing my head, boy. I guess that's better. Game 2, Cleveland versus New York. This game was won by 17 points. It could have been won by more, but they took their foot off the pedal in that fourth quarter. Just a great showing for Darius Garland, from having a terrible game in game 1 to come in this game, obviously leading the scoring charge for the Cavs, and just his effort all around, his energy, moving the ball, being a decoy sometimes for Donovan Mitchell. Even Karis LeVert showed up to play tonight. Isaac Okoro got the start, got 2 quick fouls in the first 3 minutes, got pulled for the rest of the game because Karis LeVert was just that good in this game. 24 points, the second leading scorer for the Cavs in this game. They were getting out hustled by the Knicks early. Knicks went on a 10-0 run at one point in the first quarter. Garland definitely made it a point to be more aggressive in this game, though, and that's what helped the Cavs get it back, get under control with his floor general ability. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell had a 38-point game, so he was the true decoy out there on the court tonight. Only came away with less than 20 points in this game, but down the stretch, he was hitting some big shots and keeping the Cavs lead where it needed to be for them to take even up this series and take back home court advantage. Like I said, Garland was leading the charge for Cleveland. 26 first half points, damn near half the team's points in the first half. So he was really instrumental for them, and that's the reason that the Cavs ultimately won this game. Darius Garland. Not to mention, like I said, LeVert had 24 points. He showed up tonight, very, very big for the Cavs, hitting threes, getting to the rim, mid-range jumpers. It was just a very good showing for the backcourt for Cleveland. Cleveland is now 25-1 in games where they hold their opponents to 100 points or less. And last night, that's exactly what they did. They held the New York Knicks under 100 points, and that's scary. They are the #1 ranked team defense in the NBA when it comes to holding opponents to low points per game. Brunson tried to stay aggressive early on in this game, try to keep it going from game 1. He had 8 points, an assist, a rebound, 2 assists, and 2 steals, but he was just 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from deep. But he didn't really have much help from anyone else. RJ Barrett was a no-show again in this game. 1 of 6 from the field early on. Julius Randle was struggling to get anything going against Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. So the New York Knicks, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was a fluke game 1, because obviously Jalen Brunson showed up, he did his thing. Julius Randle also had a nice game. They didn't get the same production from Josh Hart that they did in game 1 with the 17 and 10 double-double. And like I said, RJ's just been non-existent in the first 2 games, so New York got to go back to the drawing board, watch some film heading into MSG. They got to get at least 1 in MSG to prevent this series from going 5. Because in my opinion, if the Cavs win both of them in MSG, Madison Square Garden, come back to Cleveland, that's wraps for the series. Then the final game of the night, Phoenix versus the Los Angeles Clippers. This game was won by 14 points. Every game, like I said, was won by double digits, a total of 44 points, a win margin for all 3 teams combined. Kevin Durant early on, he hit his first shot 15 seconds into the game. He wasn't with that from last game, struggling. He was about his. He was going to be aggressive from the jump, and that's exactly what he was. Much more active in this game. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists through the first 8 minutes. He also got 2 blocks in that first quarter, and he continued to hit the mid-range throughout the second quarter and the rest of the game, being a true maestro out there. Devin Booker was the real star of the show, though, of course. 13 points in the first half, 18 points he dropped in the third quarter, 7 of 8 shooting. He started the third quarter off with 7 points, grabbed the steal, really took that momentum for the Phoenix Suns and helped them bolstered their lead up to about 15, 20 points at one point. The Los Angeles Clippers were really struggling out there. They were clamping down on Kawhi Leonard with the double teams, just making it hard for him to get it going. He still ended up with about 30 points, but it just wasn't a good game all around for the Clippers, at least dealing with the defense of the Phoenix Suns. They were playing too much drop coverage against the Suns in that pick and roll with Zubac. Devin Booker absolutely picked him apart, just as Kevin Durant did in Game 1. Just mid-range jumpers, three-point shots. If he's giving them that separation, they're going to pull the shot. 9 times out of 10, they're going to hit it. Finished the game off with 38 points, absolutely destroying them on jumpers. Like I said, Torrey Craig, very instrumental in this game for the Phoenix Suns, just ripping the nets, 5 of 6 from deep, playing solid defense with a few steals in this game. Backing up his 22-point Game 1, Monty Williams obviously knows something that we don't know, have given Torrey Craig the start after Okogie got the start in the last 25 or so games of the season. Torrey Craig inserted into the starting lineup, and he's really showing his worth. DeAndre Ayton, he was hitting his mid-range shots and keeping the defense honest in that second quarter. 10 points for him on in that quarter, 4 mid-range jumpers. He picked up his 4th foul early on in that third quarter, and Bismack had to come in for DeAndre Ayton, and he really held it down on the defensive end. He got 3 blocks in that quarter, and it was really what they needed for energy-wise and just moving forward to help them contain that paint. Kawhi Leonard really struggled, like I said, in that second half with the double teams and just the defensive pressure that he had to deal with in that paint. Chris Paul came alive in the fourth quarter, hitting some tough mid-range jumpers. You know, his patented fall away mid-range, go across the lane and just fall away and pull it over anybody. It doesn't matter. You know, dishing the rock, that's what CP3 does. True floor general. Led the Phoenix Suns down the stretch to win this game. And then for the Los Angeles Clippers, Russell Westbrook had his energy going early on, like always. Got a block on Kevin Durant. Picked up 2 quick fouls in the first 6 minutes though, and he had to sit. But once he come back in the second quarter, kept his aggression going. 8 quick points, shooting much better from the field, still being a pest defensively, deflecting passes, blocking shots. He finished the game with 28 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds. 5 assists, 4 rebounds. A solid game for Brody, but it ultimately wasn't enough to knock off this Phoenix Suns team in Game 2. Kawhi Leonard in this game, like I said, a solid game. He ended up with 38 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals on 55% from the field. So a great game for Kawhi. Backed up by Brody. Nobody else really came to play though. No one else was really there to, support the two of them. They really needed Paul George in this game for some other kind of scoring punch. Norman Powell, 12 points. Terrence Mann, 10 points. I think Eric Gordon, I don't know why I keep doing that. Eric Gordon, I think he also came away with 12 points, but it just wasn't enough for this Phoenix Suns team. Kawhi played the entire first quarter. 8 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Dicing up the Suns in isolation, mid-range jumpers, hitting threes, getting to the rim. The double team coming, he's dishing it off. This was all in the first half. The Phoenix Suns figured him out in that second half and slowed him down just a bit. But he was looking like the Kawhi Leonard of 2019 Toronto Raptors that showed us that super teams are not invincible. Early on, Terrence Mann, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook combined for 31 of the 45 Clippers points through the first 17 or so minutes. They were all being aggressive, getting to the rim, getting free throw attempts as well, getting fouled. So early on, it was looking good for the Clippers, but somewhere down in that third quarter, Devin Booker picked up his play, and it really took the Clippers by surprise. Also with Ayton being on the bench and Bismack's defense just being so aggressive and flustering in the paint. They struggled to make shots early on in that to begin the second half, and they just couldn't stop Phoenix from scoring as well. Zubac had a great rebounding game in Game 1 with 15 rebounds. He only came away with 6 rebounds in this game. In the third quarter, though, they were able to stay afloat with a couple runs, with Phoenix being so hot, but late down the stretch in the fourth, they just fell apart. The last 5 minutes, they just looked completely lost. They couldn't get anything going. Nobody was helping Kawhi. They was just standing around, and they need Paul George. Obviously, they said he's not coming back for this series, but you could tell in this game they really needed Paul George. And tonight, 7:30 kicking us off. We got the Lakers taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Game 2 of that series. Then there will be Miami versus Atlanta. Miami versus Milwaukee at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, you got Denver taking on Minnesota. So every day, we tuning in. Recaps. We coming over here to touch in with y'all, see what's up. But, I'm about to get up out of here. I'll see you on the next one.